Consider the heart and what makes it beat. Light, life, and love are the joys to meet.
I am.
Just relax and think about what's important to you. When you think about all the important things in life, what comes to mind? Does eating to make oxygenated blood come to mind at all? It should, especially when you consider that all the other things in life won't happen if the quality of the blood is poor. We are forever confronted with the question of what to eat and when to eat. Something is telling us we can do better than we've ever done before. When you walk into a store that sells food of any kind, what will be your answer to the question, will this food produce clean blood? If the food is fruit, then the question should be, is this fruit free of pesticides or other contaminants? Is it organic? How close to the ground did it grow? How close to where I live was it grown? Should I eat this fruit by itself or in combination with another fruit? Is this fruit compatible with some other fruit that I'm considering to eat? Are we thinking that we should eat fruit first or not? When we consider vegetables, are we thinking about raw or cooked? Do we steam them? Do we fry them? Which way to eat vegetables is the way to produce the best results? Now, how about grain? Rice, barley, millet, etc. How should we prepare them to get the results that produce the most powerful blood? Should I have toasted bread or plain white, rye or whole wheat? Are there preservatives, yeast, or other ingredients that would cause me to alter my decision about how I will consume this food? How about legumes, like peas and peanuts? Do we ask the question about what is the best way to eat them? Do we eat nuts and seeds with dried fruit? If we do, have we checked the label? Have we checked that label to determine the freshness, the additives? Do we ask, is this food denatured? Or will it give me the true power that I'm supposed to get from this food? Are you asking yourself if your choice will send you to an early grave or help you to live to see 120 years of age? Now, these are just a few thoughts to consider when it comes to your diet and nutrition. You know, in today's world, disease is as rampant as ever. Let's open our minds to a new day of light, especially at a time when children should be disease-free. Well, as we know, many are confronted with diseases they would never be expected to have. Now, of course, some people have solved the dilemma of disease. They, of course, are in the minority. Those of us who are still getting sick should ask the question, what will it take for me never to become sick again? Is it possible to make a transition from eating non-living foods to living foods? Will this kind of change have an effect on my mind, my body, my spirit? Well, these questions and more have been what I tackled over a 30-year period. The problem was to prevent disease of any kind. The experiments that I conducted included fasting, making a transition from non-living flesh eating to fruits and starchless vegetables. After a 5-minute period, actually a 5-year period, I returned to non-living flesh eating. Now, this period of dead meat consumption lasted for, about another 5 years, with a return to fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Now, of course, not eating all of them at the same time, but eating them at different times. The longest fast was a 7-day fast, and I found the most productive was a 1 to 3 day fast. Most of the fasts were preceded by taking a 00 capsule of golden seal root and echinacea. Some people actually use cascara sagrada, or some use other forms of a mild laxative, followed by a warm water enema. As a matter of fact, some people use aloe vera juice to get that kind of cleansing effect. Now, these fasts help to determine the value of certain foods and the role of that food in the production of oxygenated blood, the big key. Now, the 7-day fast was a spiritual focus with less emphasis on self. And this is not generally recommended. However, all fasts have their degrees of concentration, contemplation, meditation, and prayer. Any fast is an effort to connect with the Most High, the power of all. Now, when experiment after experiment was completed, I finally came to my hypothesis. Disease is a result of accumulated waste, continual consumption of mucus-producing foods, and poisonous foods. While these poisons are circulating in the blood, so-called germs, or we can call them the bad germs, and viruses and other pollutants, have an opportunity to do their damage. Then there were many years of testing, more years of testing, after which I developed a theory for myself. And no other source of information was better than my own body giving me the answers. My body was my laboratory. The theory that was developed proved that fruits and vegetables are the natural food of man. If there is a stray from this point of focus, one would recognize the consequences. Moderation is the key. And I'll say that again. You'll hear it again. The question that needed to be answered was, what prevents disease? This brought me to the law of my life in regard to nutrition and disease prevention. It's very simple. You are what you eat. Yes, a very simple statement and thought. However, it continues to be ignored. Eating is not just the act of putting food in your mouth, as we all know. What we eat in thought is extremely important as well, and has a lot to do with what comes out of the mouth. Do we speak what is true, what is kind and necessary? Do we speak like the quick, or do we speak like the dead? The quick draw from the well of life. The dead mingle with strife. Life knows the body is the temple. Death makes friends with the mind and brings the body to tremble. The major question is, what will be the end result? The result should be equivalent to a very certain kind of power, which is a form of love given to us from on high, if we obey the rules. The law says, obey the rules. The rules say we must know what exactly to eat and drink, how to eat and drink, and when. Certain phases of the law cause us to overcome the obstacles. And for some people, there are obstacles. For others, there only appear to be obstacles. And then we are given to eat from the tree of life consistently when we overcome. The end result of following this way of life is disease prevention, the restoration of radiance and vitality to the substance of life. This kind of investigation leads one undoubtedly to higher ground, so to speak. The effect of this finding has led to what can be called health wealth, the Genesis Project. And after witnessing